Dear students, welcome to the video lecture of micro level design process part 1. Micro level process, user driven interface. The design of the ViewLayer object must be user driven, user centered. User centered interface replicates the user view of doing things by providing the outcomes user expect for any action. The user interface should simple and natural. User interface should be simple and natural. The user should be able to use the previous knowledge in accessing the user interface. User should be able to use the previous knowledge in accessing the user interface. The following is the process of designing view objects. The following is the process of designing view objects. For every interface object identified in the macro UI design process, apply the micro level UI design rules and corollaries to develop the UI. For every interface object identified in the macro UI design process, apply micro level UI design rules and corollaries to develop the UI. Apply design rules and GUI guidelines to design the user interface for the interface object identified. Iterate and refine. So the actually for every interface object identified in the macro UI design process, apply the micro level UI design rule. So every object which is taken from the macro level process, identified in the macro level process, you will identify the micro level UI design rules and corollaries to develop the user interface. Apply design rules and GUI guidelines to design the UI for the interface object identified, and iterate and refine. So this is shown in the diagram. Apply the micro level UI design rules and GUI guidelines to each interface object identified to develop the UI. And next interface object refine and iterate. Okay, all the objects are come under this process. Then the process will get an end. So all the objects identified in the macro level design process will go through the micro level design rules, which apply corollaries and design rules uh, to fine tune the objects. This is an iterative process. So what are the design rules we are using? So use UI design rule 1, making the interface simple. Application of corollary 2, interface to be simple even application is complex. You may have a complex application, but interface is a very simple. Okay, it is a really a very challenging task that to design a simple interface for such a complex system, but we have to do that. The user interface should be simple, that user are unaware of the tools and mechanism that make the application work. The user interface should be simple. The users are unaware of the tools and application that mechanism that make the application work. As application become more complicated, user must have even simple interface so that they can learn an application more easily. So whatever complication it is, whatever complication the application is, the interface should be simple. That is the design rule 1, that is based on the corollary 2, which we studied in the design. UA class should have a single and clearly defined purpose. UA class should have a single and clearly defined purpose. When you document, you should describe the user interface with few sentences. When you document, you should describe the user interface with the few sentences. The Maria Cappucciati, an expert in the user interface design and standards, has a better acronym. Keep it simple and straightforward. Keep your interface simple and straightforward. Okay, so don't what to say. Don't make your interface complex. Keep it simple and straightforward. The labels, static text, checkboxes, group boxes, and option buttons are often clutter the interface and take up twice the room mandated by the actual data. If you have a so much control, it means that so much unnecessary control create a clutter in your screen and take up twice the room added by the actual data. The following factors should be considered while evaluating the impact. Every additional feature potentially affect the performance. Every additional feature potentially affect the performance, complexity, stability, maintenance, and support cost of an application. So every additional feature potentially affect the performance, complexity, stability, maintenance, support cost of application. It is harder to fix the design problem after the release of the product. It is harder to fix the design problem after the release of the product. All the problems should be fixed before the release, because user may adopt or even become a dependent on a peculiarity in the design. Simplicity is different from being simplistic. Simplicity is different from being simplistic. Making something simple to use often requires a great deal of work and code. So we have to put a lot of effort. If you want to develop a simple interface, you have to put a lot of effort. Features implemented by the small extension in the application code do not necessarily have a proportional effect in the UE. So if you make some features, you extend some features which are implemented, should not impact your user interface. So these are the 4 rules. Every additional feature costs. It is harder to fix the same problem after the release. You have to fix everything before the release. Simplicity is different from being simplistic. Okay, you have to put a lot of effort to make the interface simple. uh, Features are added in the application code should not affect the user interface on user interface. So these are the factors to be considered while evaluating the user interface. Second, UI design rule 2, make the interface transparent and natural. Making the interface transparent and natural. It is based on the Crowley 4. UI should represent the real world goal. The user interface should be intuitive and natural, that user can anticipate what to do next by applying their previous knowledge of doing tasks without the computer. An application therefore should reflect a real world model of the user's goals and tasks necessary to reach the goals. So an application therefore should reflect a real world model of the user's goal. So and tasks that necessary to reach the goal. The second UI rule is application of Corollary 4, that is based on the strong mapping in UI design. The Corollary implies that there should be a strong mapping between the user way of doing things and UI classes. So user real world way of doing things should map to the UI classes. So a metaphor is an analogy that relates the two. That means the actual way of doing things in UA classes. Okay. Otherwise unrelated things by using one denote the other, such as question mark to label the help button. So metaphor analogy relates the two. Otherwise unrelated things by using two unrelated things by using one to denote another, such as question mark and the help button. For example, we are putting question mark in the help button to the label in the help button. Okay, so that's okay. It says that okay, the question mark says that it is a help button. Okay, it represents this help button. For example, we are putting the dustbin symbol for the trash. Also, another example. So it is very essential that you have to give a real world experience to the user and in the user interface is very mandate. Next, we have to use the familiar metaphor. The principle also applies to UA design. The UA metaphor is a way to develop the user conceptual model of the application. Familiar metaphors can assist the user to transfer their previous knowledge from their work environment to the application interface and create a strong mapping between the user view and the UA objects. That is a familiar metaphor. Bank example. Often an application design is based on a single metaphor. For example, billing, insurance, inventory, and banking application can represent the forms that are visually equivalent to the paper forms to the user are familiar to seeing. For example, the online UA form should represent the familiar form. For example, online, if your user wants, he has to fill some form in the online, that should definitely all the fields and the appearance of the form should similar like a physical form. Then the user feel comfortable. The goal of the user interface design is to make the user interaction with the computer as simple as possible. So far, we discussed Corollary 1 and 2. 1 stands for the making interface simple, and next one stands for making the interface transparent and natural. We are having a third Corollary, allowing users to be in control of the software, which is going to be discussed in the next video. So that's it for the class. Thanks for watching the video. Thank you.